They came with gold, pride, and power. But one by one, they left broken, ashamed, and silent. This is not a love story. It's the village warning they were never taught. Stay with me till the end, because the final lesson is the one most people overlook, and it explains why the same mistakes keep happening. Long ago, in a fertile land where the red earth kissed the feet of tall palm trees, there stood a peaceful village called Umuoma. The people of Umuoma believed that every blessing carried a lesson, and every lesson carried a warning, if only one listened. Among them lived a woman named Adaobi. Adaobi was 30 years old, graceful, calm, and strikingly beautiful. Her beauty was not loud, yet it was impossible to ignore. When she walked through the village square, conversations paused. When she fetched water from the stream, reflections lingered. But what many failed to notice was that Adaobi's eyes held depth, like a river that appeared calm on the surface, yet carried strong currents beneath. She lived alone in a modest compound, inherited from her late parents. She farmed her land, greeted elders with respect, and spoke little, choosing her words like seeds planted carefully in the soil. The elders often said, "A woman's beauty is a visitor. Wisdom is the one who stays." But not everyone listened. News of Adaobi's beauty traveled beyond Umuoma, carried by traders, travelers, and wandering storytellers. Soon, men of wealth began to arrive, men who had never known hunger, men who believed money could bend fate and silence wisdom. They came with horses, gifts, and loud laughter. Gold bracelets clinked on their wrists. Their clothes shimmered with excess, and each man believed the same thing. She will be impressed by my wealth. What they did not know was that beauty may open a door, but wisdom decides who leaves whole. Before we continue, listen closely, because Adaobi's silence speaks louder than her beauty, and by the end of this story, you may see yourself, or someone you know, in the choices that were made. The first to arrive was Obina, a wealthy merchant known across villages. He brought chests of gifts, cloth finer than spider silk, beads brighter than morning dew. He spoke boldly. "Adaobi," he said, "I can give you comfort, status, and a life envied by many." Adaobi smiled gently and replied, "Comfort is sweet, but peace is sweeter. Tell me, what do you offer when riches are quiet?" Obina laughed. He thought it was a playful question. He spoke of his houses, his influence, his name. Adaobi listened and said no. Confused and bruised in pride, Obina left, not angry, but unsettled. Then came Ifeanyi, a landowner whose voice commanded rooms. He promised protection, power, and a future built on control. Adaobi asked him how he treated those with nothing to offer him. He grew silent. She declined again. One after another, wealthy men arrived. Each brought gold, each carried pride, and each failed the same test, because none came seeking understanding. They came to possess, not to connect. Soon, whispers spread. Something is wrong with her. Perhaps she uses charms. How can a woman refuse so much? But the elders watched quietly. The turning point came when Chukwudi, the richest of them all, arrived. His presence filled the village like a storm cloud heavy with rain. He had everything, except patience. When Adaobi refused him, he did not argue. He smiled, and that smile carried darkness, not of evil, but of unchecked ego. From that day, things began to unravel, not through force or violence, but through consequences. Chukwudi returned home restless. His wealth brought no joy. His sleep grew shallow. His confidence faded. He felt exposed, as though a mirror had been held before him, revealing what money could not hide. The same happened to the others. Their riches remained, yet something essential was missing. They had faced a woman who did not bend, and it forced them to confront themselves. In Umuoma, people began to say, "She does not break men, she reveals them." Adaobi herself did not celebrate. She prayed, worked, and lived simply. For she knew the truth passed down by her mother. When pride enters a room, wisdom steps outside. And here is the part most people miss. Adaobi was never testing wealth. She was testing character. Stay with me, because the final lesson lies not in who came to her, but in who finally understood her. One season later, a quiet man named Emeka arrived. He had no horses, no gifts of gold, only a woven basket of yams and a respectful greeting. He asked permission before speaking. He listened more than he talked. When Adaobi asked him what he sought, he replied, "I came not because of your beauty alone, but because I heard you value truth. I wish to learn before I choose." Adaobi studied him, not his clothes, but his spirit. She did not answer immediately. Days passed. They spoke of life, loss, patience, and purpose. Emeka never rushed her. He never tried to impress her. And for the first time, Adaobi smiled without restraint. The elders smiled too. They understood what had happened. The men who left broken were not destroyed by Adaobi. They were undone by their own pride. Beauty opened the door, but wisdom decided who could remain without losing themselves. In time, Adaobi chose peace over praise, depth over display. And her story became a lesson told by moonlight, shared from generation to generation. The elders would say, "Do not blame the mirror when you dislike what you see." Not every door is meant to be forced. What you carry inside will always speak louder than what you bring in your hands. This story is not about Adaobi alone. It is about us, about the times we rely on status instead of substance, about the moments we lead with pride instead of humility, about the truth that beauty, success, and power mean nothing without wisdom. If this story stirred something in you, sit with it, reflect on it, and ask yourself, what am I bringing into the rooms I want to enter? If you believe African folktales still carry wisdom for today's world, like, share, and subscribe. Pass this story on, because lessons kept in silence are lessons wasted. Until next time, remember, beauty may open the door, but only wisdom allows you to leave whole.